The Tiger's Nest is a radio program that comes to you every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time, exclusively on Radio Anu. Tune in and experience a classroom type atmosphere where we elevate into the realms of history, theology, anthropology, astronomy, and much more. Not able to tune in? No problem. I have the solution for that. If you become a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest, you will receive the program every day via your email as it appears in your inbox every morning. So you will never miss another episode of the Tiger's Nest again. Contact us today at email priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com and choose your subscription plan. Very inexpensive. You pay an average of 35 cents per program, family, when you take a year's package. Can you believe that? The Tiger's Nest radio programming, an average of 35 cents you will pay when you take the annual package. So just email us and join the Tiger's Nest subscription team. priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. No apostrophe S's. Blessed love. Definitely give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Blessed love, my family. I really pray that all is well, with you and yours. And give thanks to definitely stepped into the Tiger's Nest. Anywhere we are, it is the Tiger's Nest. But what you were hearing about a moment ago is our international radio program. If you've never stepped into the Tiger's Nest, make tonight be the first. Join us on Radio Anu. Of course, the link for the radio station is in the description below this video. We are going to be talking about Haile Selassie the first, being the Ancient of Days. We're also going to be going into the mark of the beast, the 6666, and its relation to even the Vatican and the connection with the Ancient of Days and the wrestle, the war within the heavens thereof. This is going to be a very deep reasoning, family, something we have slightly touched on before. And we are going to try our best to go through it as swiftly as we can. You already see that I am reminding you of this upcoming Sunday, which is the 28th day of November. Remember, we are doing it, myself, Honorable Priest Isaac, and of course, the Honorable Princess Akesha Menen. We will be doing the double presentation or double presenters for this lecture. Africa's Warriors is on the front line. This is our next installment of online lectures. Remember, the admission is only $15. You could just contact us via the email, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Make your purchase. Of course, you can use the CashApp, the PayPal. In fact, all the information is in the link below this video as well. Or again, as I said, you could definitely visit the website and get even more information there. While we mentioned that, let me just carry you through the website here. Of course, this is priestisaacinstitute.com, priestisaacinstitute.com. When you come through the website, of course, as you could see right there on the front line, Africa's Warriors is on the front line. You can make your purchase right here, get your e-ticket. But I just want to encourage you as I go into shop. I just want to show you, something here of importance in shop. Remember, you come into the store, you could get all our products, family. Here, all the books, the True Biblical Land of Israel. This is one of the children's book written by Prince Alamasi, $1.99. All of you should have your copy of that, if I do say so myself. All of our latest videos and online lectures are here as well, of all of our books and our documentaries. But what I'm trying to highlight to you here, of course, as I mentioned, the Honorable Prince Alamasi, yes, definitely new within the line of Tiger's Nest material. You have This is the Tiger's Nest proud subscribers t-shirt, but it's for everyone. Anyone specifically who want to get, you know, your shirt in your size, just contact us, or you could just come to the website. These were designed and presented by the Honorable Prince Alamase himself, as you could see, top quality. So you could definitely, you know, come and check them out. Just go straight to the website, priestisaacinstitute.com, and definitely get your Tiger's Nest shirt. All right, so many things happening here, right here on the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Now, what I want to do today, family, we're going to be doing a little biblical going through. We're going to be looking at the dream of Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 2, and we're going to be looking at the vision of Daniel in Daniel chapter 7. Remember, we're talking about the Ancient of Days. We're talking about Haile Selassie I. In Daniel chapter 7, it talks about the Ancient of Days. In Daniel chapter 2, it talks about a stone that comes out of the mountains without hands. And this stone hits the feet of this statue and the statue falls. I am saying that that stone is Haile Selassie I. Now, let us take our time. I'm going to be like Enoch and try to go through this swiftly, going through the heavens. But you got a tiger with me. This is a special Tiger's Nest too. And remember, when you visit the website, you could check out the shop and find the chalices. All the chalices, even on our website at this moment, created by the Honorable Prophet Jah Daniel. Just press the link and you'll get your chalices as well. So you'll be ready for chalice talk anytime it comes around. So as I said, family, what we're going to go into right now is a meditation. It's something that I want you to sit into. I want you to process it. I want you to, as I said, really take it in. And then we're going to do a bit of reading as well. And we're going to balance this off properly. Remember, we're going into Daniel's chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7. Let me just give you a quick rundown in case you don't know. Because in the book of Daniel, remember, Daniel now specifically is one of the great prophets of the Most High. Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon. All right. And Nebuchadnezzar now, who had the Hebrews in captivity, he had a specific dream. And in his dream, he saw this statue. And the statue was made of different body parts. It had a head of gold and a chest and arm of silver and belly and thigh of brass and the leg of iron and the feet was mingled with clay and iron. And eventually a stone came out of the mountains formed without hands. And this stone came and crushed the feet of this statue and the statue fell. So that was Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And he did not understand the dream. And you know, Nebuchadnezzar said, well, listen, he called all the magicians and the soothsayers and said, come, you need to interpret my dream for me. And hear this, I'm not telling you the dream. You know. I think Pharaoh did the same thing. I'm not telling you the dream. You got to tell me the dream and then interpret the dream. So if you can't tell me the dream, your goose cooked. And even if you tell me the dream and you can't interpret it, the goose still cooked. But Daniel, the prophet of the Lord, was the one that came and interpreted the dream for him. So family, what we're going to do, we're going to hold this little meds. As I said, this is a Chalice Talk, a special edition, because we needed to get to this here. And, you know, this is definitely for those who are in the front of the class, who really love to sit and meditate and get the thing properly. We're in Daniel chapter 2, and we're somewhere around the 31st or so verse. As I light up, let us meditate on this. You're going to get a bit of the talking Bible, and I will do a bit of reading for Daniel chapter 7. And trust me, we will prove that Haile Selassie is the Ancient of Days. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, give thanks. What good thing can we offer unto Farai? For all the good benefits he has given unto us, we shall take the cup of salvation and call upon his name. King Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love.
You, O king, were watching, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose splendor was excellent, stood before you, and its form was awesome. This image's head was of fine gold.
This is a dream now.
Its chest and arms of silver.
Listen.
Its belly and thighs of bronze. Its legs of iron. Its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You watched while the stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed together, and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors.
Listen.
The wind carried them away so that no trace of them was found. And the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream. Now we will tell the interpretation of it before the king. You, O king, are a king of kings. For the God of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And wherever the children of men dwell, or the beasts of the field and the birds of the heaven, he has given them into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. But after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours, then another, a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth.
That was a very important point that was made there. In fact, almost everything that will hang on this reasoning will have to hang there. Daniel clearly showed him that the head of gold is yourself. This is very important. Daniel clearly showed him that the head of gold, you king, you Nebuchadnezzar, are this head of gold. Very important, eh?
Heaven. He has given them into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. But after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours, then another, a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron breaks in pieces and shatters everything. And like iron that crushes, that kingdom will break in pieces and crush all the others. Whereas you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Yet the strength of the iron shall be in it, just as you saw the iron mixed with ceramic clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile. As you saw iron mixed with ceramic clay, they will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, just as iron does not mix with clay. And in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Inasmuch as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will come to pass after this. The dream is certain, and its interpretation is sure.
Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face, prostrate before Daniel, and commanded that they should present an offering and incense to him.
Truly, your God is the God of gods, the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you could reveal this secret.
Then the king promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts, and he made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief administrator over all the wise men of Babylon. Also Daniel petitioned the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king.
All right, family. Interesting. Now, we were taking in the second book of Daniel there. And I think it's quite clear what we were listening to was the dream by Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. And again, there was a head made of gold. And there was the chest and the belly and the arms, which was, or the chest and the arms, pardon me, which were of silver, and the belly and the thigh of bronze, and the leg of iron, and the feet were of clay and iron. Now, if you notice that Daniel clearly said that you, Nebuchadnezzar, are this head of gold. Now, again, before we go further, my family, this is a piece of prophecy here. Now, prophecy and history go together, right? So we're reading the Bible and we're speaking of biblical events and we're looking for them in real time. You must be able to see the prophecy of the book played out in history. That's all. So if we take the book at the value that's given to us, or it is given to us as the value that is given to us in, Daniel, the prophet of God, is telling Nebuchadnezzar that you, Nebuchadnezzar, you and your kingdom represents the head of gold. And after your kingdom, another kingdom shall come, which represents the breast and the arms of silver. And then after that, another kingdom shall come, which will represent the thighs of brass. Follow me, family. And then another kingdom shall rise up after that. And this kingdom will represent the leg of iron. So, or legs of iron. And then you have the feet of clay and iron, which represents the mingling of the nations, or what we would call the divided nations. Now, follow me, family. This is serious. When we look into history, we know that Babylon, now, even though a lot of individuals would argue that, hey, man, the Bible and the characters and this and that, people say a lot of things about the Bible. But you must admit the people in the Bible that do exist for sure, that you have no doubt that these are literal characters. For example, the Kemetic kings, or the kings of Nubia specifically. The kings of Nubia stand out. These kings stand out as great kings. And what they are representing to us, like Tahaka and Shabaka, they're representing historical individuals that are found in the biblical text. Now, whatever you may think, you may say, well, they came into the biblical text because of whatever reason. But the point is that these individuals are people that exist in history for sure, undeniable. All right. The same thing can be said of the kingdom of Babylon. The kingdom of Babylon, the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar, is something that we can trace historically. I'm sure you understand that. This is something that is undeniable when it comes to the realms of history. All right, fair enough. So let us observe this in this realm now. So according to Daniel, this Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom is the great kingdom of the golden head, because Nebuchadnezzar was given power even of the existence of the planet itself. You have to understand that Nebuchadnezzar was the granddaddy of the time. So he had to be the head of gold. He had to be the chief. So this is how he was seen as. So Daniel is clearly showing him that Nebuchadnezzar, you are the man. But let's look at history now, family. History. Do you know that in 539 BC or BCE, Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, Babylon, was conquered by the Medo-Persian kingdom? Some would just say the Persian kingdom, but it was the Medo-Persian kingdom. And then the same Medo-Persian kingdom was conquered by Greece in 331 BCE, Alexander the so-called Great. This is history now. This is not necessarily Bible we're talking history. Go in your encyclopedia and you will see exactly what I am talking about. Follow me, family, please, please. I hope you have your chalice. Follow me. And then Greece now was defeated by Rome in 168 BCE. And Rome lasted till about 475, 476 AD. Okay. Now, what is happening here? What are we highlighting? I am showing you that according to Daniel, family, this is not my interpretation. This is the interpretation of the Bible itself. Do you know you have scriptures that you read, and then you gotta go to Sunday school or go to the brotherhood or go to somewhere and try to figure out what it means? Well, this scripture of Daniel is one of them scripture that gives you the interpretation while you're reading it. So even if you don't get the fullness, it gives you a good start. Am I lying, family? Please follow what I'm saying here. Daniel clearly showed the man, you Nebuchadnezzar, you and your kingdom is the head of gold. That's it. That's it. Hey, from you get that, the problem solved, family. This is what I'm trying to show you. From you understand that, everything is clear. And then Daniel shows him that these other body parts of different metals are the kingdoms that will follow you in the specific order. Oh my, what more you want than that? What more do you want than that? So all we have to do is to check history and see who it is that defeated Babylon. That's it. And that must be the breast of silver. The Medo-Persian kingdom. All right. So who is it that defeated them? That must be the thighs of brass. Greece. Okay. Then who is it that defeated Greece? That must be the leg of iron. That was the Roman kingdom. We're going to get to the mingled feet in a moment. Now, back to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. And I will read. And it says, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four beasts came up from the sea. Follow? Diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. You get that, family? The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings, like a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Follow, family. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Wow. And I considered the horns, and I beheld there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the root. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. All right, hold on. Let us cease there. All right, what do we have? So it's speaking about 4 beasts. This is another vision. This is not Nebuchadnezzar's dream now. This is Daniel's vision. And Daniel, in his vision, is seeing 4 beasts. And the first beast is like that of a lion with wings. And the lion with wings, you know, he gave a description, and it moves swiftly and all of that. Wings mean swiftness. I mean, the winds upon the waters, it's like nations, people. There's a lot of symbolism here. War, conquering, a lot of symbolism here. The bear now, there was a bear. And some people align the bear with Russia in certain aspects, you know, when it comes to this prophecy. But these prophecies are multi-layered too. But what we're looking at here cannot be denied. Because the bear now, let us start at the beginning. The lion that you are looking at, that is with the wings, you know that the symbol of Babylon is a lion with wings. You see, even in the movies, and you know, they have the Mesopotamia, you see on the temples, you see the lion with the maybe the face of a man and the plaited beard and the wings on its back in Sumer and these places. So the lion with the wings is the symbol of that region there, ancient Iraq region there. Good. So that lion, you know, with the wings represents the kingdom of Babylon. Not only does it represent the kingdom of Babylon, it also represents the kingdom specifically, yes, of Babylon, you know, but it represents the head of gold. Remember, the head of gold was Babylon. The head of gold specifically was Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. And Daniel clearly showed him, you are the head of gold. Now Daniel is having his vision. Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7 is the same story. Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7 is the same story. In Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. In Daniel chapter 7, Daniel the prophet has a vision. Follow me good. Nebuchadnezzar's dream is about a statue with body parts of different metals. You get that? Okay, good. But Daniel's vision is about animals, strange animals at that. But the story is exactly the same. It is about the conquest of kingdoms. That's what it's about. Follow me. We're going to explain it clearly to you. And remember, we are proving that Haile Selassie is the biblical Ancient of Days. So now, the lion with the wings, according to Daniel now, is the same head of gold. So the lion with the wings is Babylon. Then it says, after the lion came up a bear. The bear overtook and conquered the lion. Now there's something interesting about the bear, you know, outside of the fact that it had the 3 ribs in its mouth. It said that the bear went up on one side, as you can see, leaning on a side. Now, as I said earlier, although some would say it was the Persian kingdom that conquered Babylon, it was really a collaboration of 2 kingdoms. It was the Medo-Persian kingdom that conquered Babylon. The Medo-Persian kingdom specifically was made up of the kingdom of Media and the kingdom of Persia. And of course, one came to more higher prominence there, the Persian kingdom. That is why the bear went up on one side. Good. Now, the animal after the bear in Daniel's vision is this leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings. So again, the lion had wings, which means the lion was swift. That means the lion would go out conquering. But the leopard now had more wings. So the leopard was even more swift on its feet. That's Alexander the so-called Great from Greece, from Macedonia, really, the ruler of Greece. And the fact that the leopard had 4 heads shows you again, remember when Alexander died, his kingdom was divided into 4 amongst his 4 generals. This is where you get the Ptolemy of Egypt or Ptolemaic period of Kemet, because the leopard had 4 heads or 4 generals. The kingdom was divided into 4. This is history, you know, as we show you here again. Babylon was defeated in 539 by the Medo-Persia BC. Greece defeated Persia in 331 BCE. Rome now defeated Greece in 168. So now Daniel, in his vision, speaks of another beast. And this beast that Daniel speaks about is not even a regular animal. It's not a lion, it's not a bear, it's not a leopard, it's not a cheetah, it's not an elephant, it's just a beast. And this beast have teeth like iron. Interesting, because the metal iron is mentioned. Remember, the country that defeated Greece, which is the thigh of brass, was Rome. So Rome fit the category of the leg of iron. I really hope you're following me. So Greece now is the same leopard with 4 heads. The leopard with 4 heads represents the same thighs of brass. Remember that this statue of Nebuchadnezzar's dream represents the same animals in Daniel's vision. You can't lose track of that. So the head of gold, which is Babylon, is the lion with the wings. Can't lose track of that. The chest or the breast of silver, which is Persia, is the same bear with the 3 ribs in its mouth. You can't lose track of that. Very simple. Then now you also have the thighs of brass, which is Greece, in the same way that is the leopard. with the 4 heads and the 4 wings. That is Greece, Alexander. Can't lose track of that. So in the same way that the legs of iron is Rome that conquered Greece in 168 BCE, that same beast now, this terrible beast, so terrible is this beast that you can't even put an animal to it. This beast with the teeth of iron, this beast with the 10 horns on its head, this beast represents Rome. Now, what is interesting about this beast, according to Daniel, is that this beast, again, had 10 horns on its head, but there was a little horn that arose amongst the 10 horns, and this little horn plucked up 3 of the horns that were on the head of the beast, obviously leaving 7 horns. And this little horns had power and had eyes and spoke blasphemy, words against the Almighty Eye. All right, so what we have to do now, we have to understand at least where we are in the scripture before we lose, we get back to all of that, before we lose track with where we are in the science. Because we're looking now, we're observing that we are dealing with history, family. This is the first thing we have to keep in mind. This is history. We're not playing with prophecy. I don't think we could consider this religion, to be very honest. I think we're taking a very real look at history here, and it just happens to be quite aligned with prophecy as well. Okay, so now what you're looking at here, these are the 10 kingdoms of Rome. You see, family, what most people do not realize is that Europe as you know it today, which some people argue is not really a continent at all, Europe by itself. But Europe as you know it today is really the residue of ancient Rome. Yes, it is. So the Rome that defeated Greece was largely Europe, not Rome today. Today, Rome is in Italy. But yesterday, Italy was a part of Rome. Emperor Constantine could rule over Rome from Turkey. So that shows you where the Roman Empire was. So you have, these are the original 10 kingdoms of Rome. You have the Alemanni, that's the Germans of today. You have the Anglo-Saxons, that's the English of today. You have the Burgundians, that's the Swiss of today. You have the Lombards, that's the Italians of today. You have the Suevi, that's the Portuguese of today. You have the Franks, that's the French of today. You have the Visigoths, that's the Spanish of today. Good. You have the Heruli, they don't exist today. You have the Vandals, they cannot be found today. You have the Ostrogoths, totally nowhere around today. So what happened to these 3? Since the Visigoths are the Spanish of today, ¿cómo está Visigoths? Since the Franks are the French today, say something in French. I don't know the French thing. Bonjour. Bonjour, yes. Since the Suevi are the Portuguese and the Lombards are the Italians, what became of the Heruli? What became of the Vandals? What happened to the Ostrogoths? Well, don't worry, I will tell you. The reality is that, you know, Europe has a very brutal history. What the Europeans did to the Africans in the transatlantic slave trade, you may be surprised, eh? But during their dark ages, I think they committed worse atrocities on their own people, at least according to the records. Even some of our own scholars admit that, if the records are correct, the sort of things that they would have done to their own people for a very long time, in large number, to the point that in the same way that they kill off all the Arawaks and all the Caribs and almost all of the people there in Tasmania, they totally wiped out a whole group of Roman kingdom people, Europeans as such. A tribe then, the Heroles, totally wiped out. The Vandals, totally wiped out. They kill them, totally take them out. Thousands upon thousands of people, they just kill them. Then they go for the Ostrogoths and they totally kill them. So why is it that the authority of Rome would have killed these three specific kingdoms or totally exterminate them and left the others? What would they have done for such a brutal treatment to come down upon them? It couldn't be nice. I don't think they just put something in the water. Them people went out and burned them to death, destroyed their cities, razed them to the ground. The history is there to show you that. Why did they do that? Why did the king of Rome do that? Well, it wasn't really the king of Rome that did that to them. No? Who would have done that then? It was the Church of Rome that did that. I don't believe you. Oh, yeah. It was Emperor Justinian in about 451 or so AD. Emperor Justinian, the same one we showed you the picture of Christ on the coin with the afro, or not just afro, but the knotty hair in Justinian time, and Justinian with his curly long hair on the other side. One of the first depictions of Christ. These coins are still in the catacombs of Rome today. We did a whole program on that when we were doing, if you get the lecture, The Divine Black. The Divine Black is still available. You could get the lecture right here on our website. You know, you visit the website, you get the Divine Black specifically. That's the lecture that we did a few strongs ago. The Divine Black is an online presentation directly giving you all the details as it relates to Africa's presence in, you know, all the civilizations of the world. And there it is here, the Divine Black. You could just come to our website and, you know, just browse through and you get a copy of this lecture, almost 2 hours worth of information, knowledge, and inspiration, the Divine Black. So what I'm saying to you now, for sure, when you understand again here, Justinian gave the power over to the church. But you see, these three, the Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths, they did not want to submit to the papal. They did not want to submit to the church. They wanted to keep it under the crown. And maybe some of the others had the same feeling. But whatever the case is, the Heruli, Vandals, and the Ostrogoths were outstanding in their opinion. And it is the Pope that got the power that took them out. That's history. That's history. This is not a biblical story, I'm telling you. This is history. Yet still, in the biblical story, Daniel says that this beast now, which is Rome, how can you just jump up and say it's Rome? Okay, hold on, take your time. Take your time. Let us reverse here. Not reverse, but let us review what we have said so far. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Good. And his dream showed a statue of a man looking like him, with body parts of different metals, precious metals coming down. Started with gold. The head was gold. The top, the head, the head was gold. And Daniel clearly showed him, you and your kingdom, Babylon, you're the head. Story done. That is just clear as crystal. And when you follow the body parts come down, these are the kingdoms that shall follow and conquer each other. Basically, the last kingdom basically is the leg of iron, which is Rome, the leg of iron. That's why the feet still has iron and clay, because it's mingled together. So this is undeniable, really. Then Daniel comes now in chapter 7 to reinforce this with his vision. And in his vision, the head of gold is now a lion with wings. The same thing, the same Babylon. And then the chest of silver and the arms of silver is now the bear. Same thing, the kingdom of Persia. And now the legs or the thighs of brass is now the leopard with 4 heads. The same thing, the kingdom of Greece. So the legs of iron now, which is Rome, is the same beast here with 10 horns. This is basically something that you can't really deny, especially if you're a Bible believer. And even if you're not, this is very coincidental how Daniel's vision is quite aligned with history from my perspective. The only way this could be is if you were to take history and write a story about it back way, and then make it look like that story prophesied the history. But I'm telling you, when you understand the science of how Daniel laid it out from the head of gold and then trying to show you the body parts, I mean, it's very, very, very on time and well aligned in my perspective, because watch the beast. The beast had 10 horns. We just showed you Rome had 10 kingdoms. You follow that? The beast had 10 horns, which represents the 10 kingdoms of Rome. That is why obviously the feet specifically, would have had 10 toes. Very mystic, you know. It would have had 10 toes, and 3 of the toes, if you want to say, were plucked up. 3 of the kingdoms were plucked up. 3 of the horns were plucked up, and they were plucked up specifically by the church. They were literally plucked up by the Pope. And how did this happen? Because the Pope got power in 451 by Emperor Justinian, the Emperor of Rome. So from Constantine and all them time, yes, there was the Church of Rome, you know, but it was the king that ran the whole show. But then the king decided that, hey, he gonna give the church the power. Whatever made him have to give up and say, yeah, you hold it. And 3 of the kingdoms did not like that. 3 of the tribes did not like that. And the Pope said, here, you don't like that? We're going to take you out of the history book. So that is exactly what happened. That is history for you. So I'm showing you that Daniel said that Rome, the beast, the teeth of iron, and his 10 toes, or his 10 horns, up came a little horn. Hear that? Up came a little horn. That's the church. That's the Pope. Up came a little horn. And it is the little horn that pluck out, yeah, the 3 horns. And that's why the 3 kingdoms are not there now. So this is important. It is showing you that this beast is the ancient kingdom of Rome. And remember, this kingdom of Rome is what has become, again, the European nations of today. We just showed you England, Spain, Italy, France, Switzerland. You can go on, even when you break them down into smaller pieces, the Netherlands and Wales and Scotland. It's the same thing. Don't try to run from it. It's the same thing. They all from Romulus and Remus, man. Suckling on the wolf. It's all the kingdom of Rome. That's why they band together in the League of Nations, and we will get there soon. Because remember, there's a stone that came out of the mountains, made without hands, formed without hands. And the stone didn't hit the head. It didn't hit the head, Babylon. The stone didn't hit the chest, Greece or Medo Persia. The stone didn't hit the thighs, Greece. The stone didn't even hit the leg, which is ancient Rome. The stone went for all the babies, the 10 toes. The stone went for the kingdoms. The stone went for the so-called United Europe. That's what it's saying here. That's what it's saying. Now, you see, those who follow this prophecy here would tell you that the stone is Christ. This is not me making this up. This is the theology. Am I right, Awa? The stone is Christ. And the stone is supposed to come, let's just put it that way, and present itself in a way where it crushes, you know, the residue of the Roman Empire, which is basically Western Europe, really, you know, if you understand the science. Because these 10 toes, the same horns, they were the one that went running around the world, colonializing the world. That's why we always say, when we speak about Ethiopia being, the independent country of Africa, it's not just the independent country of Africa. Ethiopia is the independent country of the world. Europe colonialized the world. The world. All the United States, Canada is colonialism, that, you know, man. Europe colonialized the whole world. The same 10 toes. It wasn't the leopard with the horns that colonialized the world. As great as they say he was with his 4 heads. It wasn't the bear that colonialized the whole world, the Persian Empire, that one is. It wasn't the head of gold, which is the lion with wings. None of them colonialized the world. Maybe they colonialized the known world in their time. Not even Genghis Khan. He should have a piece in there. They should have given him an animal, a chameleon or something. Not even them colonialized the whole world if you put them together. It was the 10 toes, the 10 kingdoms. Even though 3 were plucked up, it was the residue of the horns of that beast. It is they that colonialized the world. Europe, them same Italy and England, Anglo-Saxon, and Germany, and France, and Spain, them is the ones that colonialized the world. I'm not lying on nobody. It's the truth. They're the 10 toes that must get crushed by the stone. What I was showing you here, I'm sure you understand this by now. Those who do not know, if this is new to you, let's just run through this. This is the title, which is given to the Pope. It is said that it is written actually on the mitre. And it is interesting, to say the least, because we're not lying now. If you want to say, well, oh, you can't say this. We ain't saying nothing. I can say what I'm saying, because there was a time when I was spitting this kind of stuff 20 years ago. Trust me, man, it's all police and so on the case. You don't even know. But today you can say these things now. Give thanks for the price have been paid, at least around here for sure. So anyway, Vicarious Feledier, the vicar of the Son of God. This is the title on the mitre of the papel, of the Pope, the Father, the Holy Father. It says Vicarious Feledier. Now, when you add up the value of the name, it comes to 666. I don't think we can go through everything. You can see it right there. V is 5. You know, these are the Roman numerals. You know your Roman numerals. V is 5. I is 1. C is 100. And A and R, you see no value, 0, 0. And where is it? U, anywhere you see a U, it's the value of the V. Okay, there it is. The U is the V. And even when you speak German, you see that. A V, they pronounce it almost like when we say Volkswagen, say Volkswagen, the W is a V, and the W, if you notice a W, looks like 2 V's, but a W is a W. Here, check it, W, although it may look like 2 V's because the U and the V is the same. That's why you see the V and the U have the same 5. You understand? It's deep science, the F no value, and the L50, and you just add it, the D500, and you just add it, and you get the name of the vicar of the Son of God. Vicarious Feledier is 666. So now, interesting. I know some people would argue about, and I know the whole philosophy about the carbon atom and 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. I'm well aware of that, trust me. In fact, that's a deep science by itself, because it still comes down to what Revelation speaks about. Because this 666 is the number of the mark of the beast, the number of a man. Obviously, the mark of the beast is deeper than just this. You know, you see the time we live in, the mark of the beast is a system. The mark of the beast represents the Antichrist too. The mark of the beast specifically, as some would argue again, represents human beings because it's the makeup of carbon. I agree. But what is the human being, the flesh part of the human? Some mystics consider that the beastly part of us. So it's a deep reasoning actually that would go on another level. But let's just stick to this. The mark of the beast, the 666 is clearly seen. Interestingly, in the makeup of the name of the vicar of the Son of God. And here they say, it may be something that you could easily look over and say, oh, well, that's just coincidental. Yeah, it sounds so. But when you consider all that we have said before, and who this Rome is, and where even the prophecy of the Bible put this beast. Remember, this is the beast that rise up to speak evil words against the Almighty. This little horn that pluck out the 3 horns rose up to fight against the saints of the Lord. That was the mission I just explained. You know, they colonialized the world, the transatlantic slave trade, 400 years of captivity, shipped and hanging and lynching and Jim Crow, segregation and all of that stuff. You could just ball it up into this prophecy of this beast with the iron teeth that came to stamp the residue of the Holy Land. The same beast was the one that they say ruled the Holy Land or took it over for 3.5 years, which is really the exact time Italy was in Ethiopia, not for the full 5 years. The war was for 5 years, but that actual occupation is just like the scripture says. Get the exact terminology, but it's 3.5, something like 42 months, I think the scripture says. So when you look at these literal scriptures and they align so clear with history that the beast was in the holy city for 42 months. And when you equate it to the time frame, is the same time Mussolini, according to the books I'm talking, when you read the manuscript of the records of war, that is the exact time that Italy was given to say, if you want to say that they had annexed Ethiopia. you know, the same 3.5 years. So the prophecy is so perfectly aligned with the history. You understand? So this beast here with the 10 horns is the leg of iron and the feet of clay and iron, which is the European nations, which is Rome. The European nations is on Rome. That's what it's saying. So now, I think that's clear. So this stone now, this mystical stone that's supposed to come out of the mountain without anybody shaping the stone. Because remember, although we're dealing biblical here, obviously we're dealing realistically. We just showed you a realistic coming up the line history. The 10 toes. What is it about these 10 toes? What is it about the European nations that we know about them today? They were savages. We all accept that, even them. And they went on a colonial campaign that has enriched them up to today. We all know that. Whatever wealth they rejoice in up to now, all the diamonds on the Queen's crown, they know it's because of the exploitation of the African land, the country, and its people. They know that. The people still up to now striving to catch themselves, they know that. The only shred of light that these people really had was when Emperor Haile Selassie came into the scene. You have to keep in mind that although many things was going on around the king, we don't know that Menelik II and even those before him kept the Europeans at bay for a long time. And remember that the fight for independence was going on in Africa as well. But believe me, Haile Selassie, in the presence of all of this, was the shining grace that kept everything together, that even brought Africa to a point that it began to stand on its own 2 feet and become independent. Of course, you can see the war is still going on. But the European nations had a plan, family. When you see them came and sat together at the Berlin Conference and they were carving up Africa, I tell you all the time that how we are living today, where we are now in this world, this was not the plan. This was not the plan. And it was good that it did not go according to their plan, because they would have killed their own self. I show you all the time, Hitler had concentration camps where they were skinning black people and making boots. History again, So you can just imagine what would have happened if these people here would have gotten through, if Mussolini did really conquer Ethiopia, him and Hitler. Just imagine what would be taking place, because you've got to keep in mind that Ethiopia was the last free country in the world, the last free country. In Africa, that's it. If they did get Ethiopia, that would be it. If they locked down Ethiopia, that would be it. You would have no Kwame Nkrumah to talk about, brother. No feel away. If they did lock down Abyssinia, they would have said, finally did it. So it's very important when you understand and appreciate what was taking place at that time, appreciate love what was taking place at that time when Haile Selassie was defending Ethiopia, especially during that time of the war from 36 to 41. You understand? So again, it was the same European nation. You got to keep this in context. When you see them gather at the League of Nations, that's the 10 toes. When you see them gather at the League of Nations, that is the 10 toes. Those are the remnants of the 10 horns. Those are the children of the beast with the iron teeth. Am I lying? Listen, even if you are a European, you don't have to be offended. I'm just telling you the truth. Especially if you love your Bible. You can't tell me what I just explained from the Bible is wrong. Daniel said, Nebuchadnezzar, you are the head of gold. And if you believe that, the whole story just falls into place. It's undeniable. You can't run around this. Nobody can run around this. And it leads us straight to the 10 toes, the 10 horns. It's Europe. And everything about it, you know, the concept, religion, the ideology. You know what I mean? The sexual way of living, the way of eating, the way of conducting just domestic affairs. We can go into so many things, and how our historians talk about Queen, which one of these queens was the cleanest woman in Europe. I even did a video about that once. Did Queen Elizabeth really bathe once a day? You know, because not once a day, once a year, right? Once a year. I said, nothing can gossip. And she was the cleanest woman in Europe. I said, nothing can gossip. Up to now, I didn't even believe nothing really good. Anything can gossip. That makes sense. Anybody can be. If that is true, Rasta, wow. I am telling you. You understand? Yeah, so this is what we're talking about. So we're dealing with the empires, the kingdoms, because they're kingdoms. All of these European countries had kingdoms in them. Maybe not today, but before they had kingdoms. You know, I mean, the kingdom of Greece, these are kingdoms. They all had their kings. It's not just Britain alone had kings or queens. So when you see them gather here, it's the kingdoms that were gathered there. World War II shook up a lot of the kingdoms. A lot of the kingdoms fell off because of World War II. You know? That's why you have to understand the essence of World War II and understand where Haile Selassie I fit into World War II. Let us go forward again to the book of Daniel Rastafari. Here it say here, Daniel chapter 7. So it says, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down. Hear that. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down. And the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garments was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as the burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. And I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, and beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and was given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives prolonged for a season and a time. That's very important. They had their dominions taken away, but their lives prolonged for a season and a time. That's what's happening now. The Roman Empire dead. The liquor room inside of Italy is just a sham. Hear what it says, you know. They got their power taken away, you know. Their dominion, according concerning the rest of the beasts, their dominion was taken away, yet their lives prolonged for a season and a time. That's what's going on now. We're in the season and a time, their life prolonging, but their dominion really taken away. Time is ticking, Rasta. When you see Haile Selassie, right, come and stand before the League of Nations, Rasta. And not just that alone, you know, give thanks. And not just that alone, but just that period of war. That's why you see I cherish the 5th of May, 19 36 to 41 so much as the 5 bleeding wounds, man, with understanding, and the resurrection with understanding, family. Yeah. As I said, World War II. That's it here. It began with the king. They act as if the king have nothing to do with it when it start there. That shake up all them kingdoms. Enough dominions were taken away. Lives just prolonging for a little. The Ancient of Days. You hear what they refer to him as? The Ancient of Days did sit. So now that is to show you now, even within his elder state, Rasta. That is what's standing out there. That it is in his elder state that you see the emperor come and sit amongst us now. That when you look at even certain pictures of the emperor, you see the elder emperor, you know, the ancient man with the woolly hair. This is to just show you that it's the fulfillment of what Daniel is saying. Because the emperor, you know, remember, he's an elder statesman. He is the father of Africa. You know, even the video we just did when he went into Jerusalem and the announcer said, well, this is it. That's the end of the last African kingdom. It was good as long as it lasts. And nobody expected the king to return to Ethiopia, defeat Italy, and sit on the throne and be on the throne till his head get white and gray-headed and gray beard. Yeah, that's the Negus and Nagas. All enemies done dead and gone. That is why Daniel can put it like that, that he beheld until all the thrones were cast down. And the Ancient of Days did sit. Haile Selassie, man, the Solomonic throne, follow this in the family. That's why I said the stone now that hit the feet of the statue, it didn't hit the head. It didn't hit the chest. It hit the feet and everything crumbled. The thrones were cast down. All them ancient thrones were done with. It hit the feet and it crumbled. The 10 toes. That's why the toes were mingled with iron, which is Rome, and clay, to show you now it is an amalgamation of these nations now. The EU as such, the League of Nations, as they were called, even with the United States, is all one. That's a part of it. That's one of the horns, that's the toes, that's a mixture of some of them gone over the Atlantic Ocean. You understand the history. So you cannot overlook or underlook Haile Selassie in this, and try to put it as some sort of fanatical thing we're dealing with. Because it is Christ is the stone that hit the toes. We already explained to you the statue properly, and as I said, we understand who the toes are. We understand who the horns are. We understand who carrying the 666. We can't deny none of this. So what you have to do now is take history and put Haile Selassie the first properly in his historical presence with the 10 toes. All you have to do is look at how the king dealt with them horns historically. No make-believe. You don't have to add no spice to it. Is the emperor bring down the League of Nations? You don't remember the video, the man said the league was dead. That's the stone crushing the feet. The other video, the BBC man said, no, not the next video, oh, what did he say? The most dramatic moment at the League of Nations. The only head of state to speak before the same 10 toes. The only head of state to address the 10 horns. The only head of state. And the prophecy is greater than that. But yet still, I'm just concentrating it so you can understand the power. That is why he beheld. He humbled himself until all the thrones, this is Daniel in his vision, were cast down. And the Ancient of Days did sit. You check it? Yeah. And in all, you know, in all due respect to it, let me just put this up now. Yeah, in all due respect too. Even as Rastafari, pardon me here, even as Rastafari, even as Rastafari, verse 13 goes on to say, and I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near to him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and language should serve him. His dominion is an ever living, that's how we'd say it, dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that shall not be destroyed. And we're saying now, don't overlook this now. Since we already put everything together and we know who is who, don't leave out the Son of Man, which came in the clouds of heaven. Because the Ancient of Days did sit, and then they say one came with the clouds of heaven unto the Ancient of Days, and he was given dominion and a kingdom ever living. You understand? So this is what we see as even in 1966, because really, you know, they brought King Emmanuel unto Haile Selassie the first. You know, it is the 31 heads of Rastafari in King's house. You know, it's not they forced themselves in there. You know. They were brought unto the King of Kings. You know, so give thanks for the fullness of even them prophecies that fulfilled by Daniel, just to show you how real it is, family. It is nothing spooky. It is just reality in its highest accord. So this is why we are sure that the Ancient of Days is Haile Selassie the first, without a doubt. And you could see the lineup again. You could see from the beginning, as we highlighted the vision of Daniel, as we highlighted, you could see the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. You could see even in this poster, you see the connection, the Medo-Persian Empire, which is the bear, and the brass, which is Alexander the leopard, and Rome, which is the Roman Empire, and iron and clay is the divided kingdoms that you have today. And you could see clearly where Haile Selassie fits into all of that. He is the stone, family. He is the stone that crushed them toes. He is the Ancient of Days that sits in Daniel 7. And again, King Emmanuel is the Son of Man that was brought unto the Ancient of Days and received them dominion and power and a kingdom ever living. Yeah, life giver and the keeper of life, Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, I, Jah Rastafari. Just reminding you, family, remember the upcoming lecture. You can come right to the website, visit the website more often, family. There's so many things there that we have to offer you, and you could definitely get your online ticket today. And of course, remember to visit the shop region. Of course, I just explained to you, you could get the Divine Black video lecture. All of our books are here. Of course, Rastafari and the Cosmos. This is another set of lectures there. Of course, we're talking about the Living Gods of Kemet, the 3-part series. Of course, the International Homeschool Program, everything is right there. But as I showed you earlier, you need to check some of the wares from the Honorable Prince Alamase, specifically the Tiger's Nest t-shirts. And of course, you could get your hoodies and all of these things. Very affordable, very, very affordable. And these are quality shirts that you are getting. And of course, Radio Anu, definitely the international flavor, the universal spice at any time, giving you good information.
But how much you can integrate into the system depends on how much you're in tune with the earth. So even half an hour, if you walk without shoes or footwear, and the body remains
talking
in touch,
about grounding.
with the
on
earth,
Radio Anu at the
you will
moment,
see
grounded.
elements
So yes,
of
family,
forms.
give thanks for your presence, man. It's just a lot of good vibes. Hope to see you on the Tiger's Nest this evening, 7 p.m. You know how it is. Tiger's Nest every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And of course, make sure you become a subscriber to that as well. And don't forget the International Homeschool Program, without a doubt, you know, for sure, bring your young ones up to speed. Life giver and the keeper of life, Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, I, Jah, Rastafari. Blessed Lord.